Hello, my name is Andrew Flushy. I'm a Virginia traffic attorney. Sometimes people ask me for tips and ideas on what kinds of questions and techniques might work in a reckless driving by speed case. And one that came up recently is that if you are to ask the trooper a bunch of questions, if that might somehow confuse the trooper or confuse the judge and cast doubt upon the trooper and make it where you could win the case. I guess the idea is that if you ask him questions about his radar and how it's maintained and how it operates and the day in question, and if he can't answer a specific question, that means that he doesn't remember what happened clearly. And so that should make it where you would win. The answer, unfortunately, is no. For a reckless driving by speed case, the trooper has to testify to really just a handful of things. First of all, he's got to be able to testify that it was in the correct county. He's got to be able to testify that you were the actual driver that he pulled over. He's got to be able to say that he was in his uniform displaying his badge of authority if it's a case where he clocked you on radar or laser. And basically to prove the speed, he's got to be able to testify that his equipment did get your vehicle, that his equipment read the alleged speed, and that his equipment was checked for accuracy before and after his shift that day and found to be accurate. If you question him, he does have to testify that his equipment was calibrated within the past 6 months, and so he'd have a certificate of calibration for that. But basically, that's the case. He doesn't have to be able to testify about maintenance of the radar normally and all sorts of other maybe technical questions about other traffic or weather or what color of clothes were you wearing or things like that. I mean, unfortunately, most judges do kind of give a lot of weight to what the trooper says or the deputy. If they testify under oath that they got you and that you're the right guy and that their equipment was working, most judges will kind of defer to that and say, well, that must be true. Now, if you have some kind of evidence that it's not true, that there was some kind of problem with the radar, or he can't prove that he was calibrated within the past 6 months, we may have a lot of defenses in some cases based on those issues. They're not usual, but they do come up. But simply asking lots of questions of the trooper is usually not a technique that's going to be fruitful in a reckless driving by speed case. I always recommend talking to an attorney because that's one of those things that might be kind of an urban myth about just kind of confusing the trooper into winning, or it's sort of like, if you show up, the trooper won't be there. Well, that's not the truth in Virginia. So you definitely want to talk to an attorney to find out what techniques might be possible in your case and what outcomes might be realistic.